Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, this time reviewing on issue 2 of Superman and Wonder Woman. Now, as you know, Superman and Wonder Woman was another series from the whole DC New 52 relaunch that was obviously meant to be a new take, a clean slate, and a different alternative take on the DC universe after Flashpoint. And I know the point of the series was meant to show Clark and Princess Diana starting their own relationship. And yeah, mainly issue 2 has basically Superman and Wonder Woman taking on the sort of Greek gods. So let's get on with the story. It starts off how, obviously, after being pummeled, we see how Diana has to deal with the creature Doomsday and has to find a way to beat it. But we see right away Clark using his super strength to lift up the sort of vessel. And we see right away Diana sort of describing the creature, and right away Clark knows what Prince Diana is saying. And obviously shows her back at the Fortress of Solitude, the Phantom Zone projector, and how it was used as a supermax prison for dangerous criminals like Zod, Ursa, Non, and other notorious criminals that were too dangerous, corrupt, as well as deranged to be around normal decent Kryptonians, and one of which had the creature Doomsday. And of course, Clark needs weaponry and all that in case if it happens again. And we are kind of seeing how obviously Diana knows how serious this is, and knows just the guy who can get them that weaponry. One for which being one of Diana's siblings, known as Hephaestus, the sort of craftsman of the sort of Greek gods, and one of Diana's siblings. Now, in the New 52 continuity, Diana is the daughter of Zeus, and of course Hephaestus here is maybe based on the whole New 52 Wonder Woman run, where the Greek gods had this more sort of darker take on their sort of designs, and we see right away Hephaestus meeting Superman, saying, "And why is this man deserving of my aid? Why can't he simply pray like the rest of them?" I don't mean to offend Hephaestus. If this is a problem, I'll leave. Strong, huh? And we see right away Clark proves his worth. And we see right away, obviously, Hephaestus showing one of his new weaponry that can take on Doomsday. And we see, obviously, right away, Clark meeting two others of Diana's siblings. One of which being Apollo, who's meant to be the sort of Greek god of the sun, and Stephri, who's obviously meant to be one of Ares' offsprings. And right away, we see how Apollo acts all big and tough for his boots, and we see right away Clark gives him the warning, and knows right away, since he's a Greek god, he can hit him as much as he wants, but this is obviously to Apollo like music to his ears, thinking this is a challenge. Words of advice: be careful how you act and behave around people or talk to them, because to them, they'll think it's a challenge. They think they know right away they can kind of not hold back and see you as something else to take on. And we see right away in Metropolis, Cat Grant is trying to get Clark on the phone, but of course has a lot of stuff going on. And right away, we see how Clark ends up in the lava pool, but right away, we see how Clark decides to go for round 2, takes him out, and we see Apollo saying, "You dare, I am the sun!" And of course, due to Apollo being the Greek god of the sun, this is obviously like a power boost for Superman, and this literally charges him up to the point where he grabs him by the shirt and throws him right up from the volcano. And after kind of being fascinated by Clark's sort of heroic aid, we see him saying, "Thank you for your offer of help. And we kind of see right away in the middle of the desert, we see how Spikes and that come across, civilians end up getting hurt, and then deals with the worst of the worst, General Zod, who obviously is not meant to just be a dark reflection of Jor-El, but a warning to what Jor-El would become if he followed a sort of army-like path, and that his ideals and beliefs corrupted him even further. And this is the story. So I think here, issue 2 is kind of okay. Again, it's trying to add in the Greek gods from the Wonder Woman New 52 series to try and say to people, hey, do you want to read the New 52 Wonder Woman comics? Do you want to know more about that continuity? And it just feels like another thing to kind of put Clark as this heroic aide. It's there to get Diana more fascinated by Clark, and is there to build something else for the next story. Kind of okay, kind of alright. It is there to sort of throw in what it needs to for a plot. So it definitely deserves a thumbs in the middle. Kind of alright, but kind of okay. So, Comic Book Reviewer here, signing out.